Close your eyes for a moment. A mountain village in Japan, February, the year 1750. Deep night. Snow has been falling for 3 days straight. Inside the house, a family sleeps in a single room, and you can see their breath. Frost flowers bloom on the inside of the paper windows. The water in the washing basin froze after midnight. The walls around them are one board thick. The windows are made of paper. There is no fireplace, no chimney, no stove. Outside, the temperature keeps falling, and this is normal. This is every winter of every year of their lives. By every rule of survival, these houses should have been graves. Even Europe's drafty stone cottages held more heat than a box of wood and paper. And here is the strangest part. The part almost nobody knows. Japanese houses weren't cold by accident. They were cold on purpose. The same civilization that built earthquake-proof temples and fed the largest city on earth looked at winter and chose not to fight it. And somehow that choice worked. For 700 years. Now cross to the other side of the world, because Europe made the opposite choice and paid more for it. This was the Little Ice Age, the same brutal centuries, the same failing harvests, rivers freezing solid from London to Amsterdam. Europe's answer was fire, massive hearths, roaring flames, stone chimneys, and the physics betrayed them. An open fireplace sends most of its heat, as much as 8 parts in 10, straight up the chimney, and the draft it creates pulls the cold in under every door. Families roasted on one side and froze on the other. Peasants moved their cattle indoors and slept beside them, because a cow gave off more usable warmth than the fireplace did. Europe burned entire forests, trying to heat rooms that refused to stay warm. Japan barely tried to heat the room at all. When the American scientist Edward Morse moved to Japan in 1877 and studied its houses, he wrote down what every Western visitor felt. The Japanese house is a summer house. In winter, he marveled, the entire heating system for a family home was a small box of glowing charcoal you could carry in 2 hands. No stove, no chimney, no fire burning through the night. Visitors from Europe sat in those rooms in their coats, shivering, completely baffled. If you've ever lived in an apartment with no insulation or worked a night shift in an unheated warehouse, you know exactly what that cold feels like. The kind that gets into the floor, into the bedding, into your bones. Now imagine that's simply what winter is, every year, for a lifetime. So, why would a civilization this clever build houses that couldn't hold heat? And how did anyone survive them? The answer starts with a monk. Around the year 1330, Yoshida Kenko wrote one of the most famous sentences in Japanese literature. A house should be built with summer in mind. In winter, he said, you can live anywhere, but a badly made house in the summer heat is unbearable. That sounds backwards until you understand what Japanese summer actually was. Heat and humidity like a wet blanket. In that climate, a sealed, insulated house becomes a box of mold and rot. And in a world without medicine, damp houses meant disease. Add the earthquakes, which punish heavy walls and reward light wooden frames. Add the fires, which made cheap, rebuildable materials a matter of common sense. The Japanese house wasn't a failure at keeping warmth in. It was a machine for surviving summer, earthquakes and fire. And winter was the price it charged. So, the Japanese did something that the West never quite did. They stopped heating the house, and they started heating the person. Layer 1, the hibachi, a ceramic or wooden box holding a handful of glowing charcoal. It warmed your hands, boiled a kettle, and not much else. And that was the point. Charcoal was precious. It came down from mountain kilns, burned clean and slow, and cost real money. So every household learned to make a few embers last a night. Coals were buried in ash to survive until morning, then coaxed back to life at dawn. A European family burned a forest each winter. A Japanese family burned a bucket. Layer 2, the kotatsu. And this one is quiet genius. Around the 14th century, someone placed a wooden frame over the coals and draped a heavy quilt over the frame. Slide the low table on top and you've built something new. Not a warm room, but a warm island. The family's legs share the heat under the quilt. Dinner, sewing, homework, gossip. All of it happens at the kotatsu. Everyone facing each other, trapped in the same warmth. Winter did what nothing else could. It pulled the whole household into a circle. In the farmhouses, the deep country version was the orori, a sunken open hearth with a pot forever hanging above it. And no chimney by design. The smoke drifted up into the thatch roof, and that smoke was the maintenance system. It dried the straw, killed the insects living in it, and sealed it against rain. The fire cooked dinner, the smoke repaired the house. Layer 3, the body itself. This is where the 17th century changed everything, because cotton arrived. For centuries, ordinary people had shivered through winter in hemp, a fabric that holds almost no warmth. When cotton spread across Japan in the 1600s, it was a survival revolution. Padded jackets, quilted robes, layer upon layer upon layer. The poorest of all wore kamiko, clothing made of tough, treated paper. Laugh if you want, but treated washi paper blocks wine shockingly well, and monks and the poor swore by it. A house of paper, a coat of paper. At night, the futon came out of its cupboard, and into it went a yutampo, a hot water flask, or a stone warmed in the embers and wrapped in cloth. Some people slept inside a yogi, a thick quilt sewn in the shape of a giant kimono. Yes, a blanket you could wear. Japan invented it 4 centuries before late-night television tried to sell you one. And for the road, there was the Cairo, a small metal or ash-filled pocket warmer carried inside the sleeve. Remember that one. It's going to follow us to the present day. Now, historians genuinely argue about what all this was. Some call it philosophy, a culture that chose to endure winter rather than conquer it. The same mindset that trained samurai in freezing dawn dojos to harden their spirit. Others say, strip away the poetry. Charcoal was scarce, wood was regulated, and heating whole rooms was a luxury the islands simply couldn't afford. Wisdom or necessity dressed up as wisdom? The evidence supports both. Where do you land? Tell me in the comments. Here's the detail that settles how well the system worked. It never left. Modern Japan, the country of bullet trains and robots, still heats the person, not the room. Kotatsu tables still sell by the millions. Disposable Cairo hand warmers sit at the register of every convenience store. Central heating remains rare in Japanese homes to this day. A 700-year-old answer to winter still in daily use. If this kind of depth is what you come here for, a like genuinely helps this channel keep going. Meanwhile, in the Europe of those same centuries, winter was a siege. Picture the Great Hall in January, the entire household crowded around one fireplace, faces glowing, backs frozen, smoke stinging every eye. Bedrooms so cold that water froze in the wash basins, the same as Japan, but with 10 times the firewood spent. In the countryside, families shared their homes with the animals all winter, breathing the same air, trading warmth for sickness. Europe threw fire at winter for 1,000 years, and winter kept walking straight through the flames. And in Japan's deep snow country, the system faced its final exam. In 1837, a merchant named Suzuki Bokushi published Snow Country Tales, a record of life in the mountains of Echigo, where snow buried entire towns for months. People cut tunnels from house to house. Streets ran under covered wooden arcades. Roofs were climbed and shoveled like mountain ridges, again and again, all winter long. Even there, the system held. But be honest about the cost, because winter always collected something. The charcoal that warmed the night also filled it with danger. A brazier left burning, a kotatsu quilt slipping onto the coals. Most of Edo's great fires broke out in winter, driven by dry air and hard north winds. The warmth and the destruction came from the same small box of embers. And here's the strange mercy hidden inside the cold. Those same drafts that froze the house also carried the charcoal fumes away. A sealed room with a brazier can quietly kill everyone sleeping in it. The leaky Japanese house almost never could. The cold that hurt them was also silently protecting them. Step back, and the pattern is the one this channel keeps finding. Europe treated winter as an enemy and went to war with it, and lost men, forests, and centuries to the fight. Japan treated winter as a fact, like earthquakes, like fire, something you don't defeat, something you design around. Heat the person, warm the island, not the ocean, spend the ember, not the forest. It wasn't comfort, it was strategy, and it worked for 700 years. So picture that mountain house one more time, deep in the February night. The family sleeps in a ring around the kotatsu, feet toward the warmth, quilts layered like armor. The grandmother wakes once, without a lamp, and buries the last embers deeper in the ash. Tomorrow's fire, sleeping until dawn. Outside, the snow keeps falling on the roof, half a meter deep and silent. Nobody in this house ever heard the words insulation or efficiency. They just knew how to be warm enough. Tonight, somewhere in Tokyo, an office worker will slip a paper-wrapped hand warmer into her coat pocket. The same Cairo, 700 winters later. And she won't think about it once. That's what survival looks like when it wins. It becomes ordinary. If your family has its own winter tricks, something passed down, never explained, that just works, I genuinely love to read it in the comments. And if the real story of how feudal Japan actually survived is what you came for, this channel was built for you. Subscribe, because the next story was hiding inside this one. The same charcoal that kept Edo warm kept setting Edo on fire. And what this city did about fire is one of the wildest systems in human history. That's next.